Hey folks, how you doing? Good to see all of you out there. It is such a fabulous, fabulous day to be joining you for the first open mic ever in the history of the universe. And I'm thrilled to be with you here today. I'm just looking down at the comments and I'm already seeing people jump in with where they're tuning in from, which is very exciting to me. I'm even seeing some names of people that I know and I love, which is just thrilling. And it's always good to start any event or any online or anything with gratitude. So while we're all banging away on those keys, why don't we start by typing in just a word of what we are grateful for in this time? That could be cheese, that could be Netflix, that could be anything at all, but just bang down, what is it right now? You're just digging, you are absolutely loving in amongst all the madness that we're living in, because there's a lot of bad, naughty, crazy stuff that's not as cool as we'd like it to be. But let's just start from that place of, you know what, this is cool and this is rocking my world. Omelette with jalapenos, me too, loving that. Flexibility, beautiful blue sky and sunny day. That's two things combined as one. I love that. That's fantastic. This is gorgeous. Cake, me too. Rocking it. So good. I could just watch that all day. I'm getting all shivers already. It's fabulous. So I guess another gratitude, I want to do a quick shout out to Julia, who has been running this Vid-19 conference, 19 days, 180,000 speakers, 9 million hours of content. She's created a platform for us to share with the world, which is super exciting, which speaks to this abundance and this attitude of generosity that we're seeing emerging. I love it. And even this, what we're doing today, is not a solo effort. In fact, I've had very little to do with today. Behind the scenes, my beautiful brother, Dave. Are you there, Dave? Can we
hey,
loop you
guys,
in?
how you going?
Hey, man, how are you?
A little bit stressed, to be honest.
It's all good. Dave is running the AV. He's doing everything behind the scenes. My camera wasn't working till about 4 hours ago. The audio's been wild. He's juggling everything. And Dave, how old is little Charlie?
Charlie's 8 weeks now. I've got a little 8-week-old baby girl.
Congratulations to Dave there. Can we get some round of applause with the, There we go. Very nice. Congratulations, Dave. And actually, the other part of this equation is another mate of mine, Simon Waller, who you might know. He is a humanist, technology, futurist, amazingly awesome human being. And he's also been behind the scenes. Now, he's one of the hardest working guys I know. And I think he might be around, Dave, if we can just have a quick look at Simon. He's probably working on, yeah.
Hey, right. Mike. How you going, man?
Fine. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah. Look, I just thought long weekend, get away for it a little bit. Just kind of thought we'll just nip off to the Bahamas. I was going to get back in time for the show, but I figured like with modern technology and stuff these days, I can just hold 1 sec, Mike. Yeah, just over here, please. Sorry. Just got a little delivery.
Oh,
thanks.
What?
Thank you very much. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Social isolation's really
but
working
I'm here
for you
if you
there,
need
buddy.
me, Mike. I'm here if you need me.
Okay. What I might get you to do, Simon, if you can run or be around the comments, I'm going to switch and be fully present with our guests and do all of that stuff. If you can just be running some polls and just, I don't know, throwing your personality into that space and drawing out some of the magic, because I'd love to hear from people out there on the chat line, draw them into this conversation. If any of you have been to one of my live events, you'll know that we rarely have any content going into it. We trust that there is a wisdom and experience and expertise in the room, that we want to create a context and a platform.
Did we lose Mike?
Oh, did we lose me? No?
Yeah, no, back now. We did.
Oh, okay, there I am. So it's all about hearing from you and drawing out the magic and seeing what we can co-create together. So thank you to you guys. Now, there's one other thing, one other person I want to check in with before we get to our very special guests, and that's the fabulous Phil Ceberano. Are you there, Phil?
Yeah, I'm here.
There he is. Connection's a little not as strong, but that's okay. Now, for many of you, you would know that Phil and I work in cahoots with the musical element and bringing the rock and roll swagger to these gigs. And I've set a challenge for Phil today, and we're going to see if we can make it work, because why not try and do 50,000 things at the same time, testing a new idea, because you can. So whenever we go on tour, Phil and I and the band, we always end up writing some kind of song. We create some melody that becomes a verse, that becomes a chorus, that we end up singing for the day, 2 days, week that we're away. And I'm going to put that challenge to Phil today, because I don't have a theme song for this show yet. So I'm going to put it to Phil. Can you write, record, and send a song that's going to be the soundtrack for this show to Dave in the next 40 minutes? Are you down with that, Phil?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Gonna give it a go.
You're going to give it a crack?
Oh yeah.
So I might even just get the comments right now. If we can give Phil, I want 3 words that Phil's going to have to squeeze into this song. Can we hear a few, what can we throw to him? Deliciousness, shitzo, virtual machine, amazing. You pick, Phil. What do you want to do? Sunshine is a good one.
Sunshine shitzo.
Sunshine, shitzo, and let's go with glue. Sunshine, shih tzu, and glue. Cool?
Okay, right. Yeah.
All right, man. We'll check in back with you in, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, see how you're doing. And then fingers crossed, we're going to have a #1 smash hit by 10:45 p.m. a.m. today. Feels like a PM in the space that I'm in. Thanks, Phil. So I guess I should create some context for this session. Now, the original title for this session was called The Courage to Create. And I was actually, there was something I was going to do and I can't even remember what it was. But creativity for me is whenever people ask me, Mike, what do you speak on? I say creativity, but really what that means is courage. When I draw back, the quilt and have a look under what is creativity really? What gets you off the couch? What gets you into that first moment of making something new or novel or nourishing for the world? And it is having that bravery. It is somehow finding the spirit to step outside of what you know, what you're comfortable with, and create something new. And it's hard. It's crazy. And taking into context the time in which we live. I don't know if anyone saw a video I put out last week, which is kind of my re-emergence back into this online world. And it was really, it was a hat tip and a homage to the craziness of what's happening in the world and the tragedy and the loss and sadness and uncertainty, and also the opportunity, the invitation that we could reimagine, that we could reinvent the world that we're living in. So in some ways, delicately and respectfully, as we're all navigating this space, and some people are better off than others, and it's all a big mess, there is also a beautiful invitation, an opportunity for us to create something never before seen that would require every single one of us to come to this party and bring their unique story, their unique experience, their unique expertise to make magic. And we're seeing that all the time online. I don't know if anyone's got into TikTok, or we've seen all the families doing these dance moves and they're going viral. It's just wild. The rest of us, though, there's those few that have found the courage to create. The rest of us might be hanging back on, but what have I got to give? What have I got to create? How am I gonna get in the mix too? Jump in there. I want to be a part of this, but I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I know what I'm doing, all of that stuff. We want to explore that today. And I've got 3 fabulous guests for you, 3 people that really embody the essence of creativity, courage, and being creative and living a creative life. The first of which, he's a wild man. He tours constantly around the globe, which is a very interesting time for him because he's on a flight probably every, 6 minutes, and he hasn't been able to do that for a while now. He is the head of R&D at Atlassian, which is a small little startup in a garage out of, I think, Toowoomba. And we're thrilled to have him with us. Can we make some noise, everybody, for the fabulous Dom Price? Give it up. I got your soundtrack here, Dom.
We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out.
There it is.
Because I love you too much, baby.
Anyway.
That's a good track. I like that. I actually did Elvis last year in Vegas.
Hey, this is why that's your theme song.
Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it?
Who'd have thunk it? How are you, man?
Mate, I'm doing tremendously well. This is actually my first day back at work since February. So I'm very excited not only to be back in work, even though it's working from home in a new world, but doing this with you because it's always a bit frantic and a little bit mental.
It certainly is. Yeah. It's we had a funny little chat when I asked you to do this 24 hours ago. And I said, yeah, man, we're going to figure it out. It'll be great. Just, voila. And you wrote a comment when I posted the video, and you said, yeah, just to be transparent, the last few times that I've done something with you live, Mike, I was, verbally abused. And I was, you ended up, what were you doing? In a rap battle.
I had a rap battle with Jason Fox in the Edge, Deacon Edge in Melbourne.
That's right.
Which
And
I won, by the way, quite clearly.
Yeah, you did actually. I do remember that. And then you were a racist
bigoted politician that got egged. Yeah, it's just a normal day.
It's just, so whatever happens today, if you don't break a bone, we're not doing our job right. That's all I'm saying.
I just feel safer that you're down a microphone and a camera, to be honest, that I'm physically not there
Let's
with
see.
you.
Look out your window, buddy. Hang on. Here we go.
I will not sleep ever again. Thank you for that.
So Dom, just tell us a story, man. What does courage and creativity or courage in life mean to you?
Easy. Let's talk about what it isn't. It's not this. I did a Pinot and Picasso painting class the other week with some of my colleagues because we decided that we should be creative together. I have no artistic ability, right? Zero. I don't have Dr. Jason Fox's smarts. I don't have Phil's lyrical mix. And so I always thought that creativity was this binary thing, like it was on or off, like it was X or Y. And then thanks to you, I've realized that anyone can be creative. And that is actually a compliment. It's not one of those underhand things. Like anyone can be creative because it's a spectrum, right? It's something that you just get to try. And those three stories are three stories where I just threw myself into something, not having a clue what was going to happen other than knowing that I'd beat Jason in the rap battle. Everything else was relatively unknown. And I think that's important for the time we're in right now. Because I've been watching this. I've not been working for the last 7 weeks. I had a personal health situation that meant that I've not been in work for a period of time. But watching this from the sidelines, it's been fascinating how many people are copy, cut, and pasting the old way of doing things, but just working from home. And kind of going, oh, look, we've done this now. Like we can celebrate because we're doing this work from home thing. And so now we're modern. It's like, no, you've copy, cut, and pasted. That's not creative or curious. Because you've not challenged the norms, the status quo. You've not challenged the default thinking, something that I learned from Foxy. On a personal side, and this is a very personal story that I'll share with you and the audience. I had a situation 4 years ago. My older sister, who's also my best friend, got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, spread to 4 different parts of her body. And I thought I had a decision to make. Do I move back to the UK or do I stay in Australia? Do I keep this amazing life I've got in Australia or move back to the UK? And it was through conversation that I realized it wasn't either or. There's a spectrum in the middle of things you can do. And so those flights that you talk about, last year I took over 100 flights. So if I can apologize for my carbon footprint, what those 100 flights enabled me to do was to visit my family 7 different times in the UK. And so what you realize is that creativity isn't about drawing a picture or always writing a song. It's about being a little bit nimble, a little bit different, and a little bit adaptive to the situation you're in. And the final story, which is the one that stands for me on a professional sense, I do a fair bit of work with Amazon and AWS. And I was in a session where one of their senior leaders shared their theory of one-way door or two-way door. Now, Michael, you live your life in two-way doors. So one-way doors are, once you go through, you can't come back. Very few things are one-way doors. Most things are actually two-way doors. You can go through them, and if you don't like what's the other side, you can come back. You pay a toll. Every time I've been to one of your events, or when I go to listen to someone that has a divergent opinion to me, I have to remind myself it's a two-way door. If I step through it, I get to listen and learn and try. And if I don't like it, I'll just come back. And if I think about the events, like I was sat in the audience at Deacon Edge, just minding my own business when you gave me a microphone and you gave me an opportunity to rap battle, right? And I'm like, I have nothing to rap about. I'm not a singer. There was more reasons to not do it than to do it. But the reality is when we do these things, the cost is so low. Why not try it? It's the only way we're going to learn.
And this is, bringing it back to the courage and getting you out of that moment. You're thinking you're there in the audience minding your own business and a microphone was thrust in your face and there was no, you had no choice. You had no way out. So in some ways you were pushed through that two-way door. And I think this today, Open Myke, is the very same thing. The book that I've got coming out in July, which I'll mention later, is there's a chapter or part of a chapter in there around making, and it's the title is Deadlines Are Lifelines. There's something about having a deadline or having an environment or a circumstance be thrust upon you where you have no chance but to swim. You're thrown in the ocean. Oh, I'm going to have to swim my way out of this. And that's I think that sometimes is a nice distinction around, well, you don't even have to find the courage. You just need to find the people or a circumstance or something that forces you to find it, that you have no choice, which is I do that all the time. If I didn't create circumstances that pushed me or had people that pushed me, I wouldn't do a whole lot.
I want to challenge you on that though, Michael, because I think
that's all we've got time for, Dom. I'm just going to
whilst I don't disagree, and I think this is the danger though, is we wait for the forcing function, where actually we're free to do this every day. Just set yourself a challenge. Every day do one thing different, and it'll be fine, right? Some of them will work, most of them won't, but you'll learn from the ones that won't.
Yeah, it's great. So I'd love to bring in one of my second fabulous guests now. She's someone that really doesn't take, I'd love to find out what it takes her to jump so fully into the mix, because she's a wild lady. Actually, I'm going to give her a little intro after I play. Maybe Dave, if you can just play a little clip of our next guest, and maybe you don't have to do the whole thing, maybe just 30, 40 seconds, but just to give you a sense of who we're about to meet.
To say for myself, everybody is that social workers are life.
Look at that.
Do you know what a social worker is?
Yes.
A social worker is... Thank goodness.
Yeah. Wait for it. Kick. Yes. And
Bubbles.
there we go. Great. Of course, I am talking about the fabulous Anna McCracken. Now, before I want to give you another intro, Anna. Like the middle of a Monte Carlo biscuit, she is the conduit between raw story and experience of communities and government, driving social change through people's lives, experience a systemic struggle. Anna lives her life. Anna lives a nomadic lifestyle and is committed to deep listening, challenging perspectives, and blowing up the expert model. I love it. Give us a boogie, Anna. Come on. Yeah.
What we're living in.
You create virtual reality insanity. Anna McCracken. How you doing?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
Really well. Better now that I'm seeing you. It's not to take anything away from Dom. But yeah, that is taking a lot away from Dom, and I didn't mean to do that. I love you, man. It's great to have you here. Anna, creativity, courage, what does it mean to you? Give us the skinny, the long and the short of it.
I just wanted to go on the back of what you were just speaking about. I think let's talk about that and in the containers in which we need in order to create. So you and I having this conversation, I don't know what the hell's going on. You could make me do anything today. And someone said to me yesterday, does that scare the shit out of you? And in one sense, yes, it does, but I know that you create a safe container. And I think part of my work is around we have to understand how we co-regulate each other, and we actually have to understand on a physiological level actually what our bodies are doing to access the part of the brain that allows us to create. And that's a privilege. And I just wanted to name it now that I've had a supportive early childhood with wonderful neural pathways that take me from the survival part of my brain when I'm feeling fearful to the creative part of my brain, and I can access that pretty quickly. And I just wanted to make mention of that because my work's very much around how do we move people towards a regulative state that we do in partnership and in relationships so that we all have the opportunities to create.
And what I'm hearing in that is your recognition of your privilege, or you could say the opportunities that you've been given through being born, who you are, where you were, all of that stuff. There feels like there's an implied responsibility that you're feeling with that privilege. Would I be right in saying that?
Absolutely. I think the responsibility is actually, if you take me back to when I was 5 and I walked down my driveway and I looked left and I looked right and I looked across the street, I grew up in a pretty white neighbourhood. And if I followed the trajectory that Australia has planned through my curriculum, through my university, et cetera, I could have probably been shaped by one perspective. And that's just not the way I want to live my life. And I didn't realise the loss that I had throughout my early childhood from being given multiple perspectives on life and being able to challenge that. And so it's my responsibility as an individual on this earth to challenge the perspectives, the mainstream perspectives. And that's why I go to all the nooks and crannies of remote parts of the world where I'm invited to really understand what it means to be challenged and to deconstruct myself so that I can then create.
So for context, you spent a couple of years in Cambodia working over there, and then you came right back and you did a two-year project going around Australia in a troop carrier called
Cosmic Dancer.
And you're working with Indigenous communities, and you were trying to draw out the stories, the unique, Dreamtime stories or the languages, and then put that into like a virtual reality. Can you talk a little bit about that?
That was one. That's sort of a passion project on the side. That's around a community that I have quite a close relationship was losing their language and wanted to find a way to connect to keep the language. So we were just playing around with virtual reality in that sense. But yes, in the last 5 months, I've done 48,000 kilometres in Cosmic Dancer, driving 14 hours to have a cup of tea with people to listen to story. And I think that's my form of creativity, is that I am interested. I think that the world is full of damp stories. I think that I'm bored of the story that's happening, and I want to find a new story. And I believe that those stories sit with people who are living and breathing in a different way than those stories would have us know. And I wanted to sort of access that.
I read something cool the other day when someone was talking about that they are feeling the privilege, that they've still got work, they've still got living in a home that they own, that they've got plenty of food, and there's others that aren't. And they were saying that, you know what, at this point in time, the people that are struggling a little more to see a new story, that are in survival mode, you don't have to worry right now. You just focus on that. And everyone that is a little bit more privileged, or that hasn't felt the same impacts in the same way of COVID-19, everything we're dealing with, it's your job to create the space, the container, like what you opened with, to help write, or help everyone write and create and allow a new story to emerge. And that's a beautiful context, and tying back in that with the responsibility of that.
Yeah, it is a beautiful thing. I just want to say one thing. A lot of people throw the word empowerment around in a lot of the work we do. And you know how I have an issue with all the wank words that we use, Mike. We talk about it often. Wank words that are used and thrown around. They create a real divide between people that are seen to know stuff and people that are seen not to. And so I don't like them. And one of those is the empowerment. To empower, you actually have to give your power away. And whilst people want to be empowering, very few people are actually willing to give their power away. And that can be either money, status, or it can be about changing a certain way of living that might be a bit uncomfortable, but is actually about empowering. And I think when we're talking about creating safe places to create, we really need to be thinking about ourselves and how we are positioned in that place and whether it's actually accessible to everyone.
Yeah, I think we can probably wrap it there. That's all that needs to be said. You're awesome. Anna, I want to just take a minute now to check back in with Simon, if I can, just to hear about what's happening on the chat. What are you people doing out there, Simon? What's happening? Fill us in. We don't have his audio, but that's probably very...
Yeah, you got me now?
There we do. I was going to say you were really embodying the essence of being on the comments in that we couldn't hear you, but yeah, go for it.
There's a lot of interest in another rap battle between Jason and Dom.
We can do
that.
And
curiosity by Eddie there about whether or not there may be an underground rap battle club that we don't even know about because no one's allowed to talk about it.
Love it.
And then there's just a shitload of love for Anna, basically, and everything that she embodies. Yeah.
Fantastic. You know what I love too, in thinking about this virtual space and how we're all moving to trying to create intimacy and depth and beauty and ways to connect online like we did offline. But rather than thinking about trying to create what we did offline in an online space, just thinking about the online space, the virtual space, as an entirely new platform or paradigm to explore and work with. And one thing that I'm really digging with these Zoom chats or with these live webinars and conferences is that there's two distinct happenings going on. One is everything that's happening on camera, and then there's another subculture that's going off in the comments. And I love that there's two different experiences happening at the one time, both pulling around. You know, if Saturn was the idea of this open mic, and then there's two kind of things. And ooh, wasn't that sexy little metaphor?
Yeah, I think this is a really cool idea, Mike. I reckon, like, when we try and understand something new, the first thing we go to is we go, well, how's it similar to something I know? So we're trying to understand, like, what does this look like? These online kind of events look like? And we go, oh, it's like, you know, a physical conference. Yeah. So what we actually come to realize is there's all this opportunity for it to be distinctly different and unique. Yeah. And within that space, how cool is it that, you know, in this environment, it's perfectly legit to be chatting away with other people while the speaker's speaking?
Yeah.
How great is it that you don't have to wait until the end to ask a question or anything like that? And I think there's actually a playfulness and a fun that can be had, and maybe we're going to start growing into that as we become more comfortable with these kind of online events.
Yeah. That's awesome. You know, thinking about, I mean, while we're jamming on what was and what will be, maybe we just take a minute to look back. It's a new segment that I want to launch on this new show that's called This Time Last Year. And let's just take just a minute or so just to reflect on a moment that happened on this very day last year. Dave, can you throw to that segment, please? Look at that, hey? Was that just a way for me to sneak Sonny, my son, into the show? Absolutely. Am I guilty about it? Absolutely not. Next week you're going to meet Dusty. But how's that? All those people. He could reach out and touch them. He was surrounded by other humans. Kind of missing that right now. How are you guys doing with that whole experience? One thing I wanted to point out and remind us of, I guess, in the way that Sonny was strutting through those people. Did anyone notice how he found two little, you know, concrete things, and he just took a detour and he stood on one and then he stood on the other and then he went back to his swagger? I like that. I think we need to remember how to do that more as adults. Now, I think it's time we check back in on our musical extraordinaire. Phil, are you there? And how is the songwriting process going?
Yes, I'm here. I've got a groove. I've got a bass line. I'm just about to add a keyboard part and then some lyrics. You know, I'm all over this shit.
Wow. This is what you do. And I got to say, is it a shampoo and conditioner combo, or is it a new thing you're going, wow, because I'm loving the look today, man?
Look, I like to encourage the natural oils of the scalp. So therefore my process is that I never wash my hair.
Just a quick shout out to people in the comments too. How many days, what's the record for how many days someone's gone without a shower? Let's throw that one out there, and I'd love to see that happen. Phil, what are you at now?
Well, I'm just following the protocol, and all I'm washing is my hands.
So it'll be about 6 weeks then.
Yeah.
Oh, you're awesome. I can't wait to hear this song, man.
Okay.
I might throw back
to it.
Yep, you get back to it. Keep cracking on. And now I might throw back to our third fabulous guest. And this guy needs no introduction. We love him dearly. He's been a wonderful support to me, and he's had to make many a courageous choice in his life. Can we? I might give him this. When I thought about Jace, this is the soundtrack that I just thought. When I think Dr. Jason Fox, I think disco, don't you? Come on, let's see you shake your booty, Jace. Come on.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Let's see
Oh,
it.
yes.
Shake
Oh,
it,
great.
Jace. Come on, man.
Come on, Foxy. There we go. To the full out. There we go.
Oh, Jesus. That's my Achilles heel, the dance. I can't do body intelligence stuff. Oh,
The
God.
Reverend Jensen Facts. Come on, give it up, Jason. This is the segment for the next 10 minutes. Come on, man.
Oh, great. You're really playing to my strength here.
How are you, man?
Good, mate. How are you?
Really, really well. So you're
Such an
you're
automatic
obvi-
reaction. How are you? How are you?
Yeah,
We're
true.
all-
How are
we're
you?
all good.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? Yeah, I'm great. I know it would be kind of fun and cool. All right, let's do that again.
No.
Hey,
all right.
Jace.
Yeah, man.
What's the number? What number are you?
Oh, 11. When 1 and 1 become 1.
Oh,
It's
great.
prime number 2. Anyway, yeah. Great.
No, but really, what have you heard this morning already? What are you noticing out there in the world? What do you want to share with these fabulous folk this morning to do with courage and creativity, to do with the context of COVID-19 and everything we're living through right now?
Yeah, man. This kind of there's a lot that's going on, right? So my mind is blossoming with all these things. That's right, blossoming. I'm in this funny world where, like, for me, like you're talking about creativity and courage, and I just feel like finally the world's woken up to this, like this post-relentless hustle that we've had. And for me, the courageous thing is to try to cultivate spaces to do nothing. There's this part of me that's like, "Ooh, complexity, ambiguity, paradox, doubt. This is the time for me to thrive." And then I'm like, yeah, but fuck it. Like, as in, there's something beautiful about when you create space for things to emerge. And I've been itching for this for some time. So, like, I'm trying consciously to resist the siren call of productivity, to not hustle, to not try to capitalize on the opportunity, to almost lean in, like, without guilt, to all the things I've wanted to indulge in. I've been learning tabla, which is like an Indian hand drum. I say that actually. I've been learning it, and it's sitting there in my lounge room. I look at it occasionally, but it's and Kim and I are going to be doing some sourdough next weekend, jumping on that meme train. So it's been good. And in amongst it, journaling has been rekindled, and all the other things. That's a nice precursor to cultivating emergence. And I think this is a lovely opportunity we have. Clear out the shit and just allow things to emerge.
It's going to take some time to shake that old model. I mean, I look back on my 20s and being a muso, and I mean, this was, to be completely honest, self-isolation at home, making studios, hanging out, creating things, sharing them. The only thing missing is going to a gig or playing a few gigs every weekend. But this kind of life, I had no money, but I had a lot of time and I had a lot of freedom to create and express. And then, as I transitioned into my 30s and ended up in this business world, I definitely have taken on that drive to productivity. What should I be doing? And this, and I know when this first kicked off, there was this. I saw there was an early rush of, all right, how are we going to pivot? How are we going to adapt? How are we going to do this? And we've got to thrive and jump forward and make it all happen. And instinctively, I did pull back and think, oh man, I'm just going to ride this one out, and chill for a bit. Now, each their own. Everyone's processing this and doing this in different ways. But
this word pivot's come up a few times. I actually really like the word pivot, but it's like all good words, like that gets corrupted by consultants and all of that stuff. But this notion of if I was to get, people were talking about wank before. Anna was mentioning wank. I love it. Like, I think that the wank that we've seen so far is just it's like beginner level compared to the wank that I can bring to the thing. Like I've got words for folks. And if we think about what wanking is, it's kind of pleasure, right? So allow me to indulge.
Let's go there.
Pivot
We're
that we
talking about
have.
wanking, folks.
We are. And this is the situation that we're all in. We have the opportunity to orientate ourselves. This is a chance to reorientate ourselves towards relevance realization, to situationally assess and to reflect and project. That's a wrap, by the way, Dom. Reflect and project. We can actually sense, all right, where are we? What's emerging? And then kind of make the kind of orientational shift and adjustment. We can kind of reorientate ourselves. We can sense into some sort of directionality that's calling to us. And then we don't not know what that is, but it could be creative. It could allow us to flourish in these otherwise dark times. And that's the thing I think I'm so loving about this. So call it what you want. Pivot, reorientation, orientation towards relevance, realization, whatever you want. But this is the opportunity we have right now.
I'm going to take that and run with it. Let's pivot. And for the next 7 minutes, Anna, you're the host of the show.
Mike.
That'd be, in my mind, I'd be like, if we're not pivoting, we're just staying on the same trajectory we were on beforehand. So it might even be sidestepping.
Oh, we can't hear Anna. Oh my God, what she just said was amazing.
Yeah, she's smart as
well. It was really good. It was really good.
But everything that's the best thing that
never
could one of us mansplain for her? Could one of us mansplain?
No, wait, I wouldn't dream.
Still can't hear Anna? Still can't hear Anna. Okay, that sucks. That is such the patriarchy happening live. We fucking,
It was really beautiful too.
Okay, let's just throw it over. Let's see if we can get something happening there and throw to the comments, because I'm not okay with that. And this, we got to rock and roll these things.
Thanks, Amy.
What do we want to hear from? Give us a question in the comments. Give us a question. Yep. Please.
Stay in the grief and actually sense into this really weird space that we're in. I'm kind of paraphrasing here. This is a global pandemic. We don't have to be doing anything in that regard. And so it was a nice reminder here. Yeah, it was good.
Can Anna talk now? I just cut out to you. No, we still can't hear Anna. Boo!
It was really beautiful. A timely reminder.
We're going to have to bring her back next week and every week because of that. Well, I want to get out to the comments and look at some people now. So what are we, the only women on the panel, and you shut her up? Yes, free Anna. We've got a real revolution happening in the comments. I love it. Hashtag free Anna is now live and it's trending. How are we going? We got her back. Keep trying, because we're going to have you close out this whole show, Anna. If not, I'm going to play you a chord. Is she back? No, we can hear her. I'm going to go back to you, Dom, then.
Hit me.
And I want you to, do you want to share about, I know we don't go too deep into your health, personal health concerns of late, but let's totally go into them.
It's free reign. Let's do it. What do you want to know?
So what would you be willing to share with us?
Yeah, easy. So I have a family history of a variety of cancers, a whole of hereditary stuff. So I go and get tested every year. And when I got tested in December and January this year, they sat me down and said, congratulations, you have early stage bowel cancer, which was actually great news for me because I always was going to get it at some stage. We found it early. We sat down. We built a plan. At the end of February, I went in for surgery. And today I'm starting back at work with a clean bill of health and ready to go again. So after 7 weeks of surgery and recovery and sort of adjusting my lifestyle to account for the fact that I've had major surgery, I'm good to go.
Wow. Wow. And I mean, there's a lot of conversation around courage in that whole experience. What, in the moment, I mean, there must have been a few moments where you thought, fuck, this is getting real now. I mean, what was some of the insights that emerged for you that you maybe hadn't, that were new for you? And to give you context for that, I remember when I had Sonny, who you saw walking earlier. Well, Kate had Sonny, but I remember the whole the birth and then holding him and doing all that stuff. It was, as an adult, I thought, wow, this is the first time in 20 years or more I've done something for the first time. I've done something like, whoa, this is so foreign. And then the second one, I was like, who cares? Just put him in the wheelbarrow. You can take him home. But to have, to be given that diagnosis, I mean, how did that feel? That must have been a first time and quite, whoa.
Yeah, so I'll be deadly honest with you, because it's the only way to be on these things. I did the typical male thing. I think it's typically male. As soon as I found out, I did the research, built a plan, very action-orientated, very pragmatic. It was all scientifically based. Brilliant. Everything was going to be fine because here's the numbers. I did the reality thing after the surgery. So I remember waking up in the hospital going, oh my God, I've just had surgery. Now, I knew I was having surgery. They didn't sort of hoodwink me into it, but I ignored all the emotional side. I ignored all the side of it. I ignored everything. I compartmentalized that potentially in a bad way, just to do the very sort of scientific, factual stuff. And then it was only after the event I dealt with all of that. And so it was literally very contrasting between going into hospital and saying, here's the 5 things that need to happen, and then waking up in hospital and going, I no longer function as a human. I'm trapped in this bed, hooked to all this machinery, and I don't work anymore. So it's very confronting and not necessarily the right way to do it, but that's the way I inadvertently approached it.
I couldn't help but notice the parallels there between what all of humanity was feeling when this crisis emerged, the pandemic. Woke up one day, tried to compartmentalize everything, process everything, woke up in isolation, hooked up, can't work anymore. Oh my God, what's happening? Where am I? It's a big process. It's a wild time. And I hope everyone's doing okay, and I hope that we can all still just share more authentically and more vulnerably. Like, it's courageous of you to share that with us and a bunch of strangers and lots of friends online. And I think
So Michael, sorry, Mike, just on that, not just the authentically, but to pick on Anna's point before, is to find the tangents, is to find the people that might not agree with you, that have a different viewpoint, that come from a completely different world, and have that same conversation with them. Because it's only when you do that you have to change your very convenient narrative, right? The reason all those wanky corporate bullshit words exist is we create them as a comfort blanket, because large audiences hide behind them, and we have this commonality because we're all synergistic and transformational and all these like bullshit words that we create, but we hide behind them. And then when Anna talked before about having those conversations and doing that drive, you're doing that to have a very different conversation, and you have to listen to that different conversation. I think that's the superpower we all have. And if we stay, a lot of people, when they think authentic, go for like-minded people. And I think that's a mistake. Authentic can be you having that conversation with someone that goes, politely, I disagree with you, because my world is very different. And that's what I think we need to go in search of, is that friction, because I think that can be a superpower for us as humans, when actually we go for agreement instead.
We're still talking about Anna. That's how much we love her.
Yeah.
Can we hear her now? Anyone? No, it's still not happening. Well, you know what's cool? What is cool about that is we are just going to have to bring you back next week, and along with 3 other women, and that's just the vibe that's going down. Well, I guess it's almost getting to time to wrap up. I might throw back to Simon once more if I can, if he wants to just give us a sense of what's happening out there on the message line, on the chat line.
You know what's happening out there, Mike. Everyone just wants Anna, basically. Yeah. We're just thinking of calling. There's going to be a new show called Open Anna, and we're just going to take the same title stuff that you created last week, and we're just going to scrub your name, put Anna's name on it instead. Right. And the ratings are going to go through the roof. It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, they really will. It's going to be a whole lot better than that.
Look, I think it's been cool. One last thing, I just think there's some really interesting questions. I think that people would love to ask some more questions from Dom around the kind of like what kind of changed for him, what's kind of this whole experience has been like, and perhaps to be, you know, I completely get the whole male-orientated approach of where's the science, blah blah blah, but I'd like to really we could spend some time digging into that and like what were those emotional things that kind of came up in the time since, you know, what change in perspective has happened as a result of that. But again, I know we're short of time. It might be a whole episode dedicated to Dom's bowel cancer, Dom's bowels.
Yeah, and if we called that open Dom, that might not be appropriate. Yeah, we might leave that one there. I might just check back in with Dave. Thanks so much for all your help today, Simon. You're looking good on the beach there.
Thanks, man. It's been great.
Everything you've been doing out there running the comments. Davey, how you going, man?
I'm going good. A little some technical things going on, but hey, it's a live show where, you know, that's what happens. But I feel like it's running pretty smoothly other than that.
It is a live show and you've been working your ass off, and I think people don't understand, well, they wouldn't understand, they wouldn't know how much has gone into bringing this all together. We snuck you into my house, self-isolation, so that you could set up my camera, and then we've got, you should see the array of toys and flickering lights that I have at my fingertips here. I'm not allowed to touch any of them, people at home, because
don't do it.
I'm going to ruin the whole thing. But Dave's actually running all of these people from all around the country and bring them live to you, and very, very exciting. And with an 8-week-old, he's doing night feeds at the moment. He's absolutely killing it. Thanks, Dave. I love you.
Thank you very much.
And of course, I think I might throw back to maybe our guests. I'll thank our guests before we wrap up. And I want to throw it over. Have we got Jason, Anna, and Dom back if you can? No, can't go back to them. You know what? We don't need to. Can we hear Anna? No.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Give me one moment.
We'll give you one moment. Thanks, Jason, for being such a wonderful contribution.
Thank you, Foxy.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, Dom. And thank you, Anna. You are amazing. Free Anna is the hashtag of the day. We're bringing that back. And I'm going to love you guys and leave you. We'll see you all next time. And I'm sure if there's anything anyone wants to throw a quick question in, we're going to throw back to Phil. Don't you worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that. Let's check in with Phil right now. Are you there, buddy?
Yeah, are you hearing me okay there?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, so a bunch of stuff up, and then I thought, no, I'm just going to go back to the old acoustic guitar, and I've written it, and here it is. I think it's a smash hit. Can you hear me all right? Goes like this. It's a shit-so situation, but the sunshine's shining in. We're all stuck in isolation, and we're gonna keep functioning, and we're gonna keep eating, sitting and eating. We're just gonna keep eating.
Yeah.
Around and eating and talking and sorting all the shit out.
Wow. Wow. That, I mean, I don't want to call it too early, man. Sometimes I have a habit of doing that. But I think this song is going straight to the top of the charts. Honestly, can I just ask, when you were writing that, did you go to a liminal space? Did you transcend? Because it felt like you had an out of body experience as you were coming up. I don't know. It's just my interpretation.
Well, I write a few things. Mostly I was muting everyone as I was going, but then I would come in and words would jump out. I don't know. I just got into the zone. But also tapping into some of the songs that we've written on the road. Jason would know those songs and where they come from. Especially getting into lifts and
all of that. Straight to the pool room, says Amy.
That's right.
That's awesome.
So
ma'am, we're going to use that as the opening credits for next week. Thank you so much for playing along and being such a superstar. We love you, Barani. And and I'll just give a final wrap now before I throw back to Julia. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in today, that's been banging away on the. All right, should we try and bring Anna back? Should we see if we can do it? Dave, are you up for it? We got to make this work. Are you there, Anna? Can we hear
I'm
you?
here. I'm here.
And can we hear you? We got her, folks. We got her. This is it. This is the moment we've been waiting for.
I've got one thing to say.
Yes.
One thing to say. It was so hard. I just wanted to talk quickly on the authenticity and
Please.
looping back to how I started.
Yeah.
The main thing that jacks the nervous system is incongruence in the environment, which is threat when someone's doing something and they're not quite right. And we look for that for our survival. And when someone's not being authentic in front of us, we make that person go into their space instead of helping them get to their creative front part of the brain where they can make magic. So it's actually up to us when we're talking about creating safe containers. We have to be congruent in the environment so we can create safe containers. And I just wanted to finish up with that. So there's a couple of things in the chat about how we can create those containers. Now, no container is going to be safe, but we can try and make it as safe as possible. That's all.
It's beautiful. And again, coming back to the responsibility or the invitation and the opportunity that we all have to create those containers for each other. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a guru. You don't have to have studied psychology or spirituality or anything like that. You can just be present with the world that's happening in that moment for someone, with someone, and just be there. And what I love in line with that conversation is really seeing how you see people and how you can create a world for them to step into. And they could be in their thing, but if you are just seeing them and holding this vision of who they are, they can step into that, get a bit comfortable in there and go, you know what, I like this place too. Find that congruence, express themselves, peace, love, and happiness. Anna, before you go, you started this session. I'm not sure if you've still got
allies or are we experts?
Say that again.
Sorry, what?
Oh, you started.
I said, are we allies or are we experts?
We are allies. I like that. Now, we started this session just before we came on. You said, I'm going to pull a card for you because I'm a witch. And we're going to close out with a tarot card. Oh, and what are you spraying on us? There's something there.
Chakra balancing spray.
A chakra balancing spray. We love that. Oh, I've just got some. I feel balanced already. What have we got?
Transformation.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's exactly what we're talking about, isn't it? That's the opportunity that we are living in right now. The moment to transform and to be that space for others. Wow, what a show. I've loved it. I hope everyone out there has had a good time too. We're going to do this every week. We're going to explore what time, when we're going to do it. We're going to have new guests. Anna's going to be on every week from now because that's just the way it happens. I want to thank all my guests. I want to thank you in the comments. Especially want to thank Julia Steele for putting on the whole Vid-19 conference. She has her final finale tomorrow afternoon. I think it's at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock. She'll let you know when. You've got to tune in for that with a glass of wine, celebrate the hard work and everything that she's been going through. And if I can leave you with anything, and I might get Dave to roll the closing credits, it's just to find something this week that just opens up your imagination. So it could be I've been watching Disney movies with my kids and let yourself cry in a Disney movie. Just really, by the way, if anyone doesn't have kids, then get around a show called Bluey. It's a little cartoon that's on at 6:20 at the moment on ABC every day, or 8 a.m. in the morning. We watch it twice every day. And this show, the depth and the beauty and it's a 10-minute episode and I'm in tears. It's just stunning. And this is an opportunity for us to reconnect back with that child in us, the spirit in us, the beauty that we are and that we have to give to this world. I love you all. I'll see you all next week. I'll let you know what time it is. Peace out, beautiful people.